Well, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and welcome to another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. We do it on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we got Facebook Live, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Twitter, X, and YouTube, and all the Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel. And since it's just you and I today, let me get a sound check from you. Since I've been up in this bedroom and God, please, let this be the last week I have to be here. We're almost ready to get back in the studio. Let me know what it sounds like. Let me know if you're hearing echo and all that good stuff. And when it's just you and I, get a chance to say hello. So if anybody would like to say hello, like Terry Briscoe. And Terry, oh, there, let's make that bigger so we can see it. Hey, Dave. Hey, ADFA fam. How you doing, man? And you were first one. You know what? I ought to have a little prize. Don't have one right now, but I'll have a little prize for maybe the first person who pops up, or maybe like radio. Oh, I'll take the 5th caller or the 105th caller or whatever it was. Mike Cunningham. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? Another fellow of the beard, and good to see you. And all right, got a sound check. Terry says we sound great. Mike says we sound great. Fantastic. Well, I'll say hello to a few other people as we go along. Oh, wait a minute. Here's somebody. Stacy, the Walking Dead game fan. Hi, Dave. How you doing today? Very well. And Stacy, thank you for stopping by. And sometimes I don't give enough love to the fans of my work when we're doing this, because this is all about the voiceover, not necessarily about me, and thank you for loving that part and so forth and so on. But I do appreciate fans when you pop by and say hi. Love you guys, and it's wonderful to hear from you. But let's talk about what's going on. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. I've got another workshop coming up, voice acting for video games. It is Saturday and Sunday, October 21st and 22nd, 10 to 5 on both days. I promise we'll take at least half an hour for lunch. And you'll learn how to create those grounded, cinematic, believable performances today's video game industry demands. You'll learn to see and play the scene, not just the words. As I've said to a lot of my students, look, it's not about the words. You'll learn how to get more by doing less, and I will help you free yourself from the tyranny of words and punctuation and eliminate those reedy reads. Got a little frog in my throat. And learn how to do the essential but often overlooked efforts, and we'll have a really good time doing that, the acting without words, and so much more. And when we're done, I videotape the whole thing, and if you are a full participant, you will get a video of the whole thing, and I'm going to make available the video as well for the auditors. It's $100 for the auditors. It's $375 if you're going to do the whole kit and caboodle. But I promise you, it's always my promise, you will be a better voice actor when this is done. And I also have discovered doing this for myself as well as my students that character work helps you in every other aspect of voiceover. You'll be amazed how much better you get at narration and commercials when you do character work, because it's all acting. It's all acting. It's all taking somebody else's words and making them your own. All right, so let's see. What have I been doing since we were together last? I've been a busy guy. Let's see. On Sunday, I was a speaker at the EEOC. What is it? EEOC? Yes, EECI. Which is a business opportunities company. They are trying to help young people find their way into various businesses. And this time it was video games and animation. And one of the things that the speaker before me, I was the second speaker, and he kind of stole my fire. But then repetition is how we learn, so I decided to just go on and say what I was going to say anyway. But what he talked about, and he is a professor over at UCLA, Jim Huntley, professor and head of marketing, USC. I said UCLA, sorry. USC Gaming Department. He talked about the size of the video game industry. Video games make more money than movies and music combined by a long shot. And they are continuing to grow. There are lots of schools now with game developer programs. And what do you think all those graduates are going to do? Well, they're going to get out and they're going to go to work for some of the big companies. They're going to go to work for some of the smaller gaming companies. And they're going to start their own gaming companies. And this is a business that we're talking about writers, musicians, programmers, artists, and of course, voice actors. And it's only growing. So want you to know about that. Also, I did a workshop for the, what is it? I gotta look at my notes. Bobby Alcott Fun. Monday night, but I wasn't teaching voice acting for video games. I was teaching TV promos. What? Dave Fennoy TV promos? Well, yeah, of course, Dave Fennoy TV promos. There was a time I was one of the top 13 male TV promo voices in LA, and I can prove it. There I am. Don't let the gray hair now fool you. That was me back in the day. And a bunch of my buddies, there's Sip. Oh, wow. Townsend Coleman, the master himself, Don LaFontaine, and so many others. But that was kind of fun. Not to say getting out of my element, but more often than not, people are coming to me for video games. And it was very good. And also, I did another workshop for my agency, ESD, voice acting for video games, over the weekend as well. I was a busy guy. Didn't get to have that much fun, except for I really have a fun time teaching. I really enjoy it. So that's all right. Let's see. Let's say hello to, oh, well, everybody stopped. They're just listening now. All right. Well, I've got some questions for you. While I was teaching, especially doing the TV promos, I recalled when I was taking voiceover lessons, and one of the things that people said to me, coaches said to me, that I always kind of went, huh? What? I don't understand what that means. I want you to start thinking about some of the things you've heard from coaches that you don't know what it means, and jot it down. And I'm going to see if I can help you discover what that mystery language meant. The one I use now that I always hated when I was starting my career was just have fun with it. What do you mean just have fun? I'm trying so hard. I can't have fun with it. I'm trying to get this right. Does that mean put a smile on my face? Does it mean laugh? Does it mean act silly? What do you mean have fun with it? Nah! Well, as years went by, I've learned what that means. It means relax a little bit. It means don't try so hard. Understand that putting yourself in a state of this, trying so hard, I got to be so exact, takes away from your read. It doesn't add to it. So relax and have fun with it. If it's something that is funny and does have fun, lean into it. Let yourself go. Enjoy it. If you make a mistake, it's okay. And one of the things I've also learned over the years is I'd rather you make a mistake, but the read be great. The feeling of it be working. You be in character. Because we can always correct that reading mistake. But if you're not in character, if you're not a person talking to another person, touching them here and here, So what? So what? All right, let's go to the comment section and see what's there. And hey, Grace Newton, how are you? Are you privy to the latest news about the video game industry joining the SAG-AFTRA strike? Boy, am I privy. And it's something else I meant to bring up. Had to get my vote in by the 25th, which was just 2 days ago. And I voted to join the strike. Now, whether we strike or not, we're not sure yet. Haven't seen the vote tally. We may or may not. I know there's been a lot of work that was going to be a month or 2 or 3 or 4 away that now they're trying to speed it up and get you in and doing it before a strike might happen. But the writer's strike ending is a really good sign. And hopefully actors will be going back to work on TV shows and movies soon. We can, if that gets settled, perhaps there's a chance that we can get also an agreement from the gaming industry. We've been on hold for a while. Now, I know that when we think about ourselves as individuals, a strike is a terrible thing. One of the things we heard about the writer's strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike is that people in ownership and management were saying, we'll just wait till they lose their houses. They'll come back and we can pay them even less. I recall when I was part of the team that went to negotiate for TV promos, and the first thing out of the negotiator's mouth from the networks was, we really don't need you guys. Anybody could do this job. You know, we should only be paying you about $25 per promo. And that tends to be where management and ownership comes from. If they could have you as a slave, they would. And when you think about it, there was a time they did. They don't respect work and working people. They justify that it's all them. It's them. It's them. But they can't get it done without those of us who are workers. And I really think you should think of yourself not just as a business owner of that little business called my voiceover career, but you're also a worker. We are all band together. And when we band together, we can help each other move forward better. So, yeah, I voted for the strike. Hope it doesn't happen. If it does, hey, I'll be there marching and waving my flag too. All right. Let's see. Terry has a question. When they say make it sound like a natural conversation when the words are so written out in a salesy way. You know, that is a tough one. And one of the things you need to do is just make it more yourself in conversation. Stop trying to read it perfectly. One of the mistakes we make as actors sometimes is trying to be too perfect with the words, when that's not how we communicate in real life. So the more salesy it is, the more you want to pull back, the more you want to find those breaks. Now, sometimes if it's a 30, 30 should be about 8 lines. And if it's 9 or 10 lines and it's a 30, you're just going to have to motor mouth it. Often, when I'm doing an audition that is a 30 that is just way too long, I'll do it in a comfortable time. With the understanding that often they realize, oh, all the ones that are coming on time, they're just too fast. But the ones that they're taking their time and giving a comfortable read, those sound like we want it to sound. We overwrote it. Let's pull some words out. Not always, but often. So, to get back to your question, pull back from the sales. Just be more you. Pull back from the smile. Pull back from the push. And you'll find it's a little more conversational. And one of the things about conversational, I'll give you an idea of what I mean. If there were some words there and it said, hi, if you come in now and buy this, we'll take 50% off. Well, that was very reedy. But if I go, but if you come in now and buy this, we'll take 50% off. Well, that really was somebody you don't want to believe. But if I just let it be, hey, if you come in now, and if you come in and buy it now, we'll take 50% off. Didn't that sound a little more conversational than either of the other two things I said? Of course it did. Yeah, I know it did. It's like being on radio and you're telling a joke. Nobody laughs, but you just imagine that they do. Grace Newton again, why does every coach ask, how did that feel when you do a read after getting notes from them? I'm going to tell you why, and it's very important. I ask that question all the time. It's because acting is a feeling. There's a certain way it feels when you are that character, when it's right. And the only way to know that feeling is to get it right. And when you've gotten it right, a coach is doing the right thing to say, how did that feel? Because that's the feeling you want to recreate over and over and over again. I know when it's working. When it feels right, there it is. So think about how it feels when it felt like you did it right. When your coach says, wow, you did it right. Because acting is a feeling. I liken it to sports, to music. If you're playing tennis, I'm a tennis player, haven't been on the court in a while, but taking lessons, you got to hit a lot of balls until it becomes second nature. If you're a musician, you got to play a lot of scales, a lot of arpeggios, a lot of chord progressions until it's second nature, until you're not thinking about it. So then it is just to feel, oh, yeah, that feels right. Oh, yeah, that feels right. Oh, that feels right. That feels right. And with acting, it's the same thing. It is a feeling. There's a lot of technique that we want to learn, but it's a feeling. And one of the things I'm just going to say, do the work in front and then let it go. Who are you? Who are you talking to? What's your attitude? Knowing what the message is. Do all that work, all that investigation before you do a take. Know what the copy is. Get familiar with the copy so that you know, what's that word coming up here? Because then it gets ready. I know sometimes you're a pretty good reader and you get to that place where there's a few words, a little syntax, it's a little funny, and you kind of slow it down. You don't make a mistake and you got through it and you think you did just fine. I promise you. The casting directors hear it. They heard you come out of character and you're not fooling them. So get really familiar with the copy. A writer's going to write a little differently than you would say it. So you want to get that in your mouth, get it in your head and in your mouth. And I think you've heard me say this before, read it slowly the first time, but make sure it's correct. Your brain tries to help you by repeating what you did the first time. If you make that mistake the first time, chances are you're going to make the same mistake the second time. And I know some of you have had that happen to you. So take your time. I know sometimes we're all in a hurry. I got to get this in. Oh, I got half an hour. Take your time. Get really familiar with the copy. Know what it is you're saying. Know who you are giving that message and who you're talking to. What your attitude is. And then do it. All right. What was this? Mike Cunningham, how do you feel about the need for a soundproof environment versus sound-treated environment for recording? I've heard varying opinions on soundproofing versus not. Very few places are soundproof. What you really want is a little bit of aliveness in the room. Just a little bit. What you don't want is enough aliveness that your voice is bouncing on hard surfaces and coming back and creating echo. And you can have more of that or less of that. It doesn't have to be absolutely quiet. In my whisper room, like this bedroom that I'm in now, When I'm in here, I have a little blanket booth right here that I bought and put up for the duration. But the street is right out there. And every car, every truck, every gardener with a blower, every dog that barks, every couple of people that walk by talking, I can hear, and I have to stop my tape. Okay, planes that fly. It's a mess. Did you hear that? Car just went by. So what you don't want is that to interfere with your microphone, for your microphone to be able to hear that. In this room, I can hear it. When I'm in my whisper room downstairs, I can't, or the microphone doesn't hear it. I might hear a truck go by. I might hear a dog bark, muffled, but it might not get into the room. And once again, the other thing you want is to eliminate that sound bounce, so you don't have an echoey sound. All right. R.D. Hall. I can feel when I'm off and when I killed it. Yeah. So many things are a feeling, just like love, baby. All right, Terry Briscoe from the coaching side. How do you know when a student isn't a good fit for you? Wow, that's an interesting question. From time to time, I'll run into somebody that my initial reaction is, I'm not sure this person is going to make it, but I always give them my best. I don't want to be the person that just says, oh, you don't have the tools. There are things that can get in your way. I've had some students who had reading problems. That's a big one to overcome. Just a not adequate education. That can be a big one to overcome, but it doesn't mean it can't be overcome. I was in London teaching a number of years ago, and I had a woman come in, and we were working on a narration piece. And it was just reedy. It wasn't her. It was a song she was singing. And we only had an hour, and I kept stopping her, and we talk about it a little bit, and I give her some hints. And finally, about 5 minutes before we were supposed to end, a little light went off in her head, and she got it. And I was really happy. Now I hope she remembers how this felt. And about a year later, she was back as a nominee for some work she had done at the Sovas. So it did work, and it stuck. And once again, when you'd ask that question, why does my coach ask me, how did that feel? Because they want you to remember that feeling. They want you to be familiar with it. And when it's not there, it's probably not right. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go further with that answer. There are people who are just assholes or jerks, or for whatever reason you just can't get along. If it was somebody like that, my modus operandi is I'm going to take you as you are, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt until you show me that I can't trust you, or that, whatever that is. So I'm open to a lot of different people. I'm going to see where they are. I try my very best not to prejudge. All right. Bernard Tanner, I see you still helping us aspire VO artists from the bedroom. Thanks. That comment could be misinterpreted. But I think everybody understands exactly what you mean. But thank you. And I hope this will be the last time. It's amazing when you tear down a studio, redo the whole room, pack up all your stuff, and then pull it out and you realize, wait a minute, where did all this stuff come from? And when you were packing up pretty fast. So, okay, where's that mic stand? All right, I think I put that cord for that in here. I've been going through boxes and finding stuff, and sometimes you're afraid you threw something away and putting up shelves and what. It's not been the most fun, but I like to. I'm getting to the point where I'm seeing the end, and it's going to be okay. Raymond Hearn, hi Dave. When it comes to animation and video games, what's the difference between creating characters and character voices? Well, they actually can be one and the same. Now, I think what you're talking about is when you're doing a crazy voice like this. What's the difference in doing that? Well, crazy voices are just wonderful, but not the crazy voice just for itself. That crazy voice needs to have a history, a worldview, things they love, things they're afraid of. You're creating a full character who happens to have this other voice. So this accent that you're putting on, it could be that kind of person, but it must be something that has some kind of soul to it, some kind of heart. So you want to give those characters not just a voice, but a soul, a feeling, things they love, things they hate. Let's see. LC tuning in late, but hey, Dave, you're never too late. And what a segue, because all the Ask Dave Fennoy's anything live on my YouTube channel. YouTube channel Dave Fennoy voiceover training. So you can just tune in anytime to get another Ask Dave Fennoy anything. And yeah, that's a salesy voice, but you notice I only use it for comedy. All right. Who's got another question? Oh, well, I'll talk about something. It's a little voiceover. A little has to do with putting my studio back together. I discovered I've just got a lot of stuff. Getting ready to remodel the house whenever the permits go through. And looking at that, I'm amazed at the stuff I've accumulated over the years. Stuff that I thought I needed it at the time. And so much of it, I haven't looked at it, haven't used it, haven't worn it in I don't know when. And as I've begun now to let go of stuff, donating things to charity and whatnot, Goodwill, there's, some pressure coming off of me. Have you ever, gone into your closet looking for something you have, you couldn't find it, so you went out and bought another one? And then you found it the first time? I've done that a couple of times. Wait a minute, I used to have this cream jacket that was just perfect with this pair of pants, and oh man, did I give it a... Let go of some things, and that can be physical things, but I think it can also be some things up here and some things in here, some trash we're holding on to that doesn't serve us anymore. Maybe it never did. That we need to open up our rooms, have less clutter, place some wall space someplace. Anyway, just a thought. So, who's got some more questions? Did I miss something? I don't think I did. Oh, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, get those questions in here. Oh, we'll cut this short because I can go have dinner now. Who is Alan Chan? That's a good question. I bet it's this person who's sending me this message. Do you have any tips for increasing one's endurance during a long VO session? The long video game session with efforts and screaming can be taxing. Thank you. I'm just going to say, don't try to be a hero. You might be playing a hero in a video game, but don't try to be a hero to the producer and the director. Fortunately, these days, most directors are trying to help you save your voice. I was doing a session not too long ago where every 20 minutes, they gave me a 10-minute break. It used to be every hour. What I would work on is not necessarily trying to improve my endurance, but understanding that there's only so much your voice can take. Um, what you're asking seems to sound like, teach me how to shout for 2 hours and be okay with it. Well, your voice is not going to be okay with that. It's not designed to shout that long. You may be a sports fan and your sports team was winning and you shouted through the game, and the next day, I can't talk. And your voice will come back. It might take a few hours, a day or two, but it'll come back. But it'll come back faster or not even be damaged if you take your time in those sessions, take a break often. I was thankful that director said, oh, every 20 minutes we'll give you a break, a 10-minute break. And guess what? I've been in those sessions where, it was battle chatter and you're screaming for 2 or 3 hours, sometimes 3 or 4 hours, or we've cut back now to usually about 2. And the next day, even though I got that hour break, my voice was shot and I had to take a day. Well, if you do it for 20 minutes, for some reason your voice doesn't get as damaged. That throat, those vocal cords will heal very quickly if you give them some time. So I would say don't worry about trying to make yourself stronger and have more endurance for screaming longer. Take a break. When you start to feel a little something, take a break. If it's just 20 minutes, take a break. Kimberly Wallenius. Hi, Dave. What's your advice on how to deal with peaks and valleys when you've been in a valley for longer than you like? Wow. You know what? I don't think there's anybody in this business, except for the late, great Don LaFontaine, that just stayed up there. People have had some very good careers and had a big fall off. And sometimes come back, and sometimes they decided to do something else. Ups and downs in the entertainment business, hell, ups and downs in life are the name of the game. So when you're making a lot of money, save your money. So that when you're not making a lot of money, you have some money and can pay your bills. I was looking at a note on Facebook today from a friend of mine, a voiceover guy who was worried about the strike and talking about how the money he makes every month is just enough. Now, it was a pretty good sum of money that he makes every month. But we have this tendency. We live at what we make. We all want a better house, a better apartment, a better car, nicer clothes, more times out at dinner. So when you're making a little more money, you spend a little more money. Sometimes, this is a lesson for me, believe me, I'm not preaching this from a place of ultimate wisdom. You got to save your money. You got to put some aside. You have to figure out a way to do that. And the powers that be are not on our side to do that. They will tell you all that, well, you should need to save some money. Meanwhile, most workers aren't being paid enough. The price on everything has gone up, even though they're making 4 or 5 times as much as the average worker. It's a battle. It's a battle. But I promise you, keep the faith, keep stepping forward, keep doing the things you did when you were getting started in your voiceover career. It may not be taking classes. It might be practicing. It might be putting together a voiceover workout group. It'll definitely be connecting with people you've worked with before. Having a sit down with your agent to find out what you can do to help them move your career forward. All of that. And don't fall into despair. This too shall pass. One of the worst things we can do is fall into despair. That point where you don't feel like you can do anything, don't want to get out of bed, uh, not bathing and eating regularly, not talking to your friends. Talk to people. Reach out. People are your greatest resource. Mike Cunning, aside from agencies, where do you think the best quality auditions are coming from these days? That's a good question. I think the best definitely are coming from agencies, as you mentioned. Um, there's some quality stuff on some of the pay-to-play sites. Much as I hate to have to say that, but they are a feature of the landscape of voiceover now. I don't see them going away. Some are better than others. Some are awful. I'd stay away from voices.com. Voices123 seems to be not great, but a much better platform. So the other thing is, what can you do with your own efforts? You can find work on your own without them in different places. Mandy.com has listings. There are other entertainment magazines that have listings of voiceover work. You can go to your Chamber of Commerce or chambers of commerce around the country and looking for various industries. Automotive. And if you've got an automotive demo, you're sending it to those people, but you're doing a lot of research. Fast food stores or family restaurants or local restaurants that perhaps aren't chains, or just small businesses. You can start doing your own search. Now, takes longer, but you might be the person that hits a store, a business before anybody else. And then they tie into you because you've connected with them on a personal level. But I'm going to agree with you. Agents are the best. And I am blessed to have been represented by agents my entire career. Let's see. Have you ever done any on-camera work? Any tips on staying focused with a camera in your face? Yeah, I've done a fair amount of camera work. I usually don't seek it out for some reason, though it finds me. Every now and then somebody sees a show that I did some work on, or a movie that I did some work on. You got to think about the camera the way you think about your microphone. You're not looking at your microphone. Don't think about the camera. You're not posing for it. You're a person, or you're playing this part, and you're interacting with another person or something off in the distance, or thinking to yourself. The camera is just there. Pay no attention to it. You don't want to be doing this. You know, every now and then we have some comedies where they break the fourth wall. They're talking to, can you believe that? But you want to ignore the camera. Let the camera person tell you where they need you to be, what angle they need you at, and then forget about it. Just forget about it. Just like you forget, I got a microphone right here. I'm not looking at that microphone or trying to worry about that microphone. I know that microphone is doing what it's supposed to do. It's picking up my voice. Who is Alan Chan? One of the video game gig I had didn't give me a break, but luckily the sessions were broken up in 2-hour intervals throughout the week, once a day. Thank you so much for the tip. Yeah. And you know what, Alan? Sometimes you got to step up and be your own advocate and say, listen, I need a break. I can tell you from experience early in my career, when video games were just becoming a thing, I think it was Dota 2 I was working on up in Seattle. They flew me up and I was playing 6 characters over a weekend. And it was a lot of shouting and, yeah, I can do it. It's like when I played football in high school and college. Send me in, coach. I can do it. No. Yeah, you want to be that performer that can do it. But you also want to be able to do it for a lifetime. So I'm telling you now, and I'm glad you're here to hear it. Don't go beyond an hour. If you can get away with 20 minutes, great. Maybe it's 40 minutes, fine. But do not go beyond an hour. You're going to need a break. Take 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes. LC, do you use throat coat tea, honey, fisherman's friend, lozenges, natural licorice, etc.? I'm pretty much a water and a tea guy. I like, if it's not too bad, it's just water. If it's going to be really strainful, I want some warm tea. As a matter of fact, you can forget the tea and just give me warm water with lemon and honey. And sometimes I'll just take a teaspoonful of honey. Now, the honey I always like is something that's natural. So don't get pasteurized honey. It doesn't do you any good. But if you can get natural honey, and you can, that's what you use. Alrighty then. R.D. Hall Day. I signed with my agency yesterday. I'm so excited. Woohoo! R.D. Hall, congratulations. And the crowd goes wild. Fantastic. It's an amazing feeling, isn't it? Now, I want you to make sure that now that you sign, you don't do the thing that I've seen a lot of people. Oh, I've signed with my agent. They finally got me. Well, I'm going to be a really good client and not bother them. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to make any demand. No, they are your partner in this. Make sure they know the direction you want your career to go in. And it doesn't mean that if you told them now you want to do ABC, that you have to always do ABC. Another thought might pop into your head. So you change your mind about, not only do I want to do this, but I want to work in this area too. And I'd like to do some narration. What do I need to do for you to help me do that? And I say that for a reason. Generally, what they need are demos. So if you've got a killer commercial demo and that got you the gig, and often that's exactly what happened, but now you want to do TV promos, or you want to do video games or animation or narration, you're going to need to give them the tools to promote you. So stay in touch with, don't call them every day or every week, but keep them apprised of what it is you want to do. All right. Got a lot of congrats there. Raymond Hearn, forward on climate. Oh, yes, indeed. Do you recommend that the voice talent take improv classes to build their acting skills? I think that's a great idea. I have taken some. I would like to take more. I actually like taking classes. I have been too busy over the last few years to take many. I have taken some from time to time. It's funny when I walk in a room with some other voice and, what are you doing here? I don't care who you are, how old you are, how long you've been doing this. You can still learn something. You can still find that you've gotten some bad habits, or you've gotten into a rut that works. I remember King of the Slap, Will Smith, talking before he fell out of favor with all of us. When he was doing a movie where the director told him, look, I don't want Will Smith, the movie star. I want Will Smith, the actor. All the Williamsms that you do, the laugh, the look, the funny stuff, none of it's going to work in this movie. You're going to have to be an actor creating a new character. Take that to heart. Take that to heart. Work on your acting. Improv helps whether you're ever going to be an improv person, because it loosens up your brain. You are forced to make those synapses go. We all have a lot of stuff in our head that we don't really know is up there. It's there. We call on it from time to time. As we get older, sometimes you call on it and it's not there. And for me, sometimes it's like, oh, listen, I'll call you at 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll show up by then. But I think improv is a great thing to do. So if somebody's been talking to you about improv, go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Briscoe. It's virtually a must in VO, Raymond. It helps in so many areas of VO, especially in the area of taking direction and being flexible. It scares the hell out of me, but when I do it, I have a great time after I get out of my head. And it's another way of finding the fun in it, getting out of your head and just letting the synapses go and stepping away from so much control. Uh, when you're doing improv and it's not working, it's because you're trying to invent as opposed to letting the invention come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Grace Newton. Um, do you have a dream guest besides Jim Frank that you would like to be on ADFA? I've got a bunch of people that I'd like to get on. I've kind of want to get back in my studio. I think I should be in next week. I haven't gotten okays from everybody that I'd like to get okays from. We got to get some dates together. But yeah, there are a number of people who are sharing a lot of wonderful information about voiceover and have a voice and a point of view that I think should be shared. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing some of those people on. Let's see. J. Horace Black. Hey, just received email that SAG is meeting on the 2nd with several executives from the AMPTP. All right, well, that's a good thing. Meeting is good. Mike Elmore, are we concerned about AI? Yes, we are. I want to say, though, I'm encouraged by the contract. I haven't read it, but what I've heard about it, the contract that the writers have, that looks like it's going to protect them from AI. AI is not going to go away. It's going to be here. It's going to be a feature of life. What we don't want to have happen is our voices being stolen. One of the things actors are on strike for on SAG-AFTRA, and extra actors are worried about are do a session, they take your picture, and then they want to use it forever without another dime. We don't want that to happen to our voices, and there have to be laws in place, as well as contracts in place that will protect us from that. All right. Yes, we are concerned about AI, but I'll give you the other side of it, though. I'm not particularly fond of doing audiobooks. My attention span isn't that great. But if I have my voice that I own, that I've recorded, I could let my voice do some audiobooks. Paul, hey Dave, do you have a preference, for any reason, for the experience level of those taking your workshop coaching? People a bit newer to the video game, or those with plenty under their belt? You know what? I don't want rank beginners. Well, I shouldn't have used the word rank, because then you think, God, they smell. Somebody that's just starting out in voiceover, it's a lot to take in. They'd learn something, but one of the things you discover is you only have so much time for each student, and if you have a student that really needs everything, you might end up spending too much time with them and not enough time with some others. I try to keep a clock on how much time, and often one of the things I say is, look, we didn't get there. We got better, but we didn't get there. But better is okay. And if I can get you to a point where you're feeling what it should feel like, great. Now it's just, hopefully you don't fall back into bad habits. A lot of times that happens to people. You've built up some habits over a long period of time, and it's hard to get, because that's your comfortable place. And it's hard sometimes to let go of that. Or we're lazy and we don't want to do the work beforehand. And I promise you, it's about doing the work before you open your mouth. Raymond Hearn, how do I learn to create character voices? Well, Raymond, one of the things you can do is take my workshop coming up on October 21st and 22nd. Voice acting for video games. You can go to my website and click on workshops in the study VO and sign yourself up. That was a great segue. I would love to see you interview Phil Lamar. I would love to interview Phil. I haven't talked to Phil in a while. We used to run into each other all the time in studios and conventions and whatnot. He will be, you know what? Let me write it down so I don't forget. I've got him on a list someplace, but yeah. Ask him how it felt to get his head blown off in Pulp Fiction. Grace Newton again. Dave, could you take Tim Powers or Scott Parkin on to talk about improv? I've had Scott on. I'll have him on again. Scott is nuts, and I love him. I don't think I've met Tim Powers, but I'm writing his name down, and I will get in touch with him and see what we can do. LC, yes, they must stand up for VO actors' rights. And that's part of a conversation we were having. Dio Mezzacapo! Hey, Dave, it's been too long since we last worked together. I think joining your upcoming workshop will fix that. Sounds like a plan. I'd love to have you there, Theo. Love to have you there. Running through these. When taking a part in a workshop environment, do you recommend choosing a script in your wheelhouse or something you need to work on? Both. When I send out scripts, I'm sending out like 40 or 50 scripts and a section of monologues. One of the things I want you to do is find scripts that feel like they're in your wheelhouse, feel like you understand right away, and then find one that's a challenge for you. Because what we should be doing as voice actors is auditioning for as many parts that we are right for and working to make ourselves right for more parts. Nobody can play everything. There's a reason we have some things called typecasting. Sometimes your voice just lends itself to something. Sometimes your worldview, your way of speaking just lends itself. Not so much your body image, because they're hearing you, not seeing you, not so much the way you move because they're hearing you, not seeing you, but our voice print. If you were to sit down with a number of people and say, close your eyes, I'm going to say something to you. Tell me who you think I am from my voice. What kind of person do you think I am? What's my level of education? Where am I from? All those kinds of things can be discerned. Might not be right, but can be discerned from your voice. And it's very helpful for an actor to, well, who do you think I am? When I just show up and I'm speaking and I'm talking to you about whatever we're talking about, who do you think I am? There's a big clue in that because often it is at odds with who we think we are. RD Hall. So does that mean we need to see an entertainment attorney and set copyright clauses in contracts for our craft in regards to AI? It means, yes, we do need to see entertainment attorneys, but not necessarily you in particular. All of us together. That means SAG-AFTRA. That means NAVA, National Association of Voice Actors, and we are very much already doing that. That's what I'm talking about, that as a collective, we have to work together to protect all of us from AI so that AI is a benefit, not a detriment to who we are and what we do. And Terry, I would love to introduce you to Tim, Dave. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, let's do that. And let's see, Jay Horace. Jay, I'm looking forward to your video game. Would you recommend a few coaching sessions with you prior to your workshop to optimize learning in your weekend training? No, because you'll get what I'm teaching in your private. I'm much more likely to say, take some privates after the fact. Take the workshop. And I tell you one of the things I like about workshops, and I tell people who are trying to get into voiceover that that's one of the first things they should do rather than jump into private lessons. One, you're going to get a chance to see other people under the gun, see their challenges and their successes, and hear the advice they're getting, and you're in a relaxed state. As opposed to now you've got the words in front of you and you're trying to do it and you're a little nervous. And the thing that we all want to do when we're taking a class is be wonderful and have the coach and everybody else say, man, that was fantastic. But you're in a class. You came to learn. That probably won't happen. It may happen. It probably is not going to happen. Probably you're going to struggle a little bit, but you're going to learn some things and you're going to be better. Once again, my promise to you is always, after a workshop with me, after a class with me, you're going to be a better actor. You're going to have the tools to be a better actor, to practice, to know what you're doing and what to look for. Mr. Terry Briscoe again. How do you decipher those wordy terms the CAs are writing into those auditions lately? Oh, boy. Which wordy terms are you talking about? In particular, casting is an interesting art, and understanding what casting directors are saying. Sometimes what they say, the words they use don't mean what you think it means. You need to develop an instinct and follow your instinct sometimes. You have to understand that casting directors, I don't want you to ignore them, but I want you to understand that they are human beings. They're not always right. They don't always use the right word for what they're looking for, or the word they use, they meant it like this instead of like that. So you have to use your instincts. It's nice when they give you some cultural touchstones, some performances by some actors in some movies or television shows that kind of give you an idea. Better when it's more than one, so you don't think, oh, I need to do it just like that actor. What they're looking for is a feeling. So read through the character description. Read through what they say about the character, voice tone and whatnot. When I say the character description, I mean, what does this character want? What are they trying to get? What are they afraid of? What do they love? All those things. What's their story? What's their worldview? Those are the things you want to get. Practice, underline a few things, and practice being that character telling their story. What do you think they sound like? And when I say sound like, in your voice. I do a lot of different voices, but my voice I could be somebody that's really kind of not very emotional and just kind of here all the time. I've played a lot of characters like that. Then I can play a character that's a little more up. So there's range in just your voice that you can find, and let it fit that character. Christopher Marshall, Dave, you mentioned about finding scripts in your wheelhouse, but how does one find out what their wheelhouse could be? Good question. What does your voice lend itself to? And one of the things you can do, once again, with your friends and fellow actors, sit down and say, okay, me just talking to you, who do you think I am? What kind of characters do you think I could naturally be able to play? And for yourself, what kind of characters do you think you could naturally play? Have a look inside yourself to think what you can do, and ask the outside world who they think you are. There's a reason we have character actors who always seem to be playing themselves, that there's a cadence in how they speak. There's a certain tone that they have. There's a feeling we get from them. And I want you to think of yourselves as character actors, and bring that special thing that you do all the time. look into the Nava AI writer. It's free for you to use. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nava, I'm one of the board members. I don't get to spend, everybody else is doing all the work. I'm one of the board members, but this is a great organization who is working very hard on behalf of voice actors. I highly recommend that you join. If you're somebody who's not in SAG-AFTRA and you need health insurance, there's a possibility for affordable health insurance there, but so much more. So much more. Oh boy, 7 o'clock on the dot. Hold on. How do you create or use as demos? How do you create or use as demos for award shows, conventions, event announcement? I get approached often in the ATL area. Oh, well, just like you would create another one. Maybe you're doing a corporate event. You're introducing the CEO, the CFO, awarding the sales prize. Maybe you do something like you're doing the Grammys or the Billboard Music Awards or something like the Academy Awards. You create it. You'd have to have somebody produce it for you so that people can get an idea of what you might sound like doing that. All right. I think that is about going to wrap it up, except for just one more time. There are a few places left. Voice acting for video games, Saturday and Sunday, October 21st and 22nd. It's a 2-day thing, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the thing we are going to learn is how to be great actors. Everything I teach is the same thing you might learn, same approach for copy if you were on stage or on camera. But it's designed for our unique limitations. We are reading scripts instead of memorizing them, and we are standing in place with a microphone. We have to create the world that we're in. We're not in costume. There's not another actor that we're bouncing energy off of. I teach you how to create that world and bring the words off the page and create believable characters. So there we have it. And, let me put it back up there just in case you pulled your phone out and you were trying to get that QR code. If you don't get it, the QR code, it's fine. Go to davefennoy.com, click on workshops, or click on study VO, and then at the top, and then click on workshops. All right. Hopefully next week I'll be in my studio. Pray for me. Pray for me. I think it's going to happen hopefully over the weekend. In the meantime and in between time, book something. Thanks so much, everybody. I will see you next Wednesday.